This is a wake-up call for me. It's doing better than it honestly ever has. Feeling very unsuccessful. We can hopefully get this to grow even bigger in the next 6 months. Hello friends, it is late June. It is halfway through 2025, which I cannot believe that this year has like halfway flown by already. Like what, when, how? I cannot believe we're at this point, but that means it's time for me to reflect back on my 2025 goals at the sort of halfway point, see how we're doing with them, if I need to be doing better as well, because maybe I haven't started some of them. And this might give me the kick in the butt to like get going on them, but otherwise just like see how we're doing, see what's going on, give you a little bit of an update on how these 10 specific plant goals are doing. I definitely suggest you go watch the original goal setting video where I talk about these plants and kind of where this starting point is. I will link it down below in the description and in the clickable eye, so go watch that and you can see kind of where we started, and now I can talk about where we are. But before we get into all of that, I want to say if you're new here and you don't know me already, hi, my name is Emma and I make houseplanty content all over the internet. So if you want to follow along with my houseplanty journey and maybe learn something along the way, stick around, watch some more of my videos, and subscribe to my channel. If you are not new here, welcome back. I really appreciate you returning. Let's get into these. The first goal I had was to establish my variegated Thanksgiving cactus, and though we're not like 100% huge big plant, I think we're actually getting there and like starting to see really good growth on this one. It only had like 1 or 2 segments on each bit before, and now we're getting to like the 3, 4, 5 sort of size. It's still, I wouldn't call this an established plant. Not yet, but we're definitely getting here. The like worry I had about the bit that I broke at the end of 2024, not a problem. It is like repaired itself and still growing strong there, so don't really need to worry. I believe it's rooted in like properly. It is like proper stuck in there. You can't really see the roots, unfortunately, even though it's in a clear container. I think they're quite thin roots, but it's stuck in there. It's like, I'm not worried about it dying at any second, and it's getting pretty decent grow light, so it's in the best possible space. I've also been keeping this one very moist, moister than I would otherwise, but that's just in order to get it rooted. I have in the past like month or two kind of stopped going quite as hard with the watering on this one to make sure that it like rooted, because I feel like it's rooted now, don't need to worry about it. And so yeah, I feel like we've definitely gotten to the point where we're feeling more established here. Are we fully established? Not quite yet. Hopefully by the end of the year we will be in a place where like I just don't need to worry about this one anymore, because it does still feel like very juvenile. It does feel kind of floppy even though it's hydrated. Like it doesn't feel like strong yet, if that makes sense, but that's okay. We have more time. We're not in a rush here. Things like this do take time, especially when you're growing something from like small tiny little cuttings like this one. So all good. Feeling actually like this was a really good note to start out on. This was a good first goal to have because I feel like I actually I'm succeeding in this one so far. I cannot guarantee the rest of them that I am. Speaking of which, the next one was about rehabbing my alocasia black velvet. And as you can see by the fact that I'm not holding anything, it died. It just like, it looked in January like it was going to grow from a new growth point. It just never did, which is really annoying. So like, what the heck? I don't know. But my friend did give me some corms from their plant that, I mean, they grew loads and loads of different corms, and so they don't need hundreds of them. Not that they had hundreds, you know what I mean. And so I have now got a new alocasia black velvet that I have been growing from corms, and it's doing so much better. But the weird thing with me and the black velvet is the original one I had was doing great for years. And then suddenly it was just like, I think it like bloomed a couple times and then it was just like, nah, not gonna grow anymore. No growth happening. I'm done. Which is so weird. I was able to propagate the stem that I had previously. It was rooted in the video in January. It did work. Like, it rooted fine, but there was just no new growth coming out from it. So it was kind of just like, why would I keep a pot with like a leaf that's not doing anything? Does that make sense? I was over it. So that one died. Got a new one, and we're still going strong with this one. I guess we can carry on. The goal to this is to grow it bigger, get it to size up a little bit. All of them do have a couple, like 3 or 4 good leaves. It doesn't seem like it's cycling. It is putting out new growth regularly in there. So we're in a good spot with it. Hopefully by the end of this year, I can get this one to size up a little bit more. So yeah, unfortunately the old one died, but this one is doing really well. After that, I had another goal to pollinate alocasias because I found a really cool alocasia that was a hybrid, wanted to try that out, and technically I did try it once and it failed. And to be honest, loads of my alocasias are flowering right now, and I'm just making excuses at this point, let's be honest, but most of my big alocasias, the ones that could possibly sustain probably being pollinated well, live in the office. Where's the one space in our home that I don't have constant access to? The office. And unfortunately, the like window for pollination on alocasias is so slim. I feel like it's like less than 24 hours slim, that like I would need to have it out in a space where I can get to it all the time in order for me to be able to pollinate them well. Right now I'm just like letting all the flowers grow and then they die, and it's just a bit sad. I do still really want to try this thing. I do. It's just not felt like something that's easy. I've also been very busy at the beginning of this year, like not able to like spend constant time with my plants like I sometimes otherwise am. Like I said, I'm making excuses for myself for not doing this one. I still really want to do it. I still really want to try it. I will try it again. It's just one of those things that it's such a tight process. I think maybe I just need to pull one of the like alocasias that's flowering out into the sort of this section and be able to see it and have access to it all the time, and that would make it easier and like potentially doable, because right now it doesn't feel potentially doable. One of my most long-term goals that I've still never accomplished is to get my Hoya Crimson Princess and Queen, I guess in here too, to bloom. That's the goal with this one, and it hasn't happened so far because I propagated this one from cuttings. This was my first ever Hoya. I grew it from cuttings from my cousin's plant. It's taken years to even get to this size. I mean, it looks fantastic in my disco ball planter. So it has been a long time for me with this one, and I know that carnosas take a very long time to get to a point where they can bloom. So it's not necessarily going to be, like, I knew it wasn't going to be fast, but it still hasn't really done anything. For the majority of the beginning of this year, it was living in the office, which again, a lot of my Hoyas live in there, and they're doing fine, but that's not really a space for them to bloom well. I don't really have Hoyas in there that bloom properly. Where my Hoyas have bloomed most successfully has been in my bedroom window hanging. And since I got the disco ball planter here, so May, I popped this one in that, and I am now hanging it in my southwest facing window where it's getting much more sunlight. And I think that will help, because I know, for me at least, my Hoyas really do need quite a lot of light in order to bloom. And the ones around it, the like cronion and stuff that broom bloom so prolifically, are doing really well still, blooming like crazy. So I'm hoping like by putting it next to it, it can kind of get the like bloom hormone. Not that that's a real thing, I'm just making that up, it's just wishful thinking. But like to encourage it to get in there and bloom. Anyways, it's not bloomed yet. It will one day. It is just, this is one that it's going to be one of my goals until it happens. And even after it happens probably, because I want to see all of my Hoyas bloom. But this one, it's just one that as soon as it happens, I'm going to be shouting it from the freaking rooftops because I'm so excited about it. But until then, it's going to be on my goals list, and one day, hopefully, we can get it to happen. This next goal has not worked as well as I would have wanted it to, unfortunately. I really would love to get my philodendron splendid to size up. It had such a big, beautiful leaf in that clip in January. It was doing very, very well. I think that leaf might have been this leaf here. Basically, I chopped and propped that top bit up because I didn't want to chop and extend the pole. So I chopped the top so I could hopefully propagate it, and the propagations have failed. They're in sphagnum moss. They're not really rooting. This is what I was talking about. I'm just having so many issues with it at the minute. It's just not happening, and it is sad because I would love to have a big, beautiful splendid. But since I chopped it, it obviously didn't have that big, beautiful leaf, and it's had to like start regrowing, and so this is the next big leaf on it. I guess by now I could probably chop the bottom pole off of this one because we've gotten to the point where there's lots of stems above this point, and so I could chop from there because that's why I didn't want to cut it before. It only had 2 stems up at the top, and 2 stems was not enough for me to like, I want a full bushy plant of it, all right? Like I don't just want it to be a little bit scraggly. That's how I am with all of my philodendrons. I don't actually like them being small and like sparse, which I think makes sense. And so now that we are like 6 months grown out from there, and a lot more of it has grown up into this section. It has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stems. At this point, I feel like we could then chop and extend and get some new pole on top of this because it needs it if I want it to continue to grow, because it's nearly at the top of this one. I could put the tiniest bit more moss in just to get up to this point, but it needs, it definitely needs something, some sort of height, otherwise it will not continue to size up. That is the gist of it. It won't. It needs the support, and unfortunately those propagations that I had just didn't work. So sucks a bit, but all is well with it. It's just not gotten as big as I think I would have hoped. My other moss pole goal was to get my cebu blue pothos to fenestrate. And as you can tell by the lack of fenestrations, it still hasn't fenestrated. Which is, it's annoying. It's fine, but it's annoying. At last you'd seen it, I had like pulled the top of the stem down to loop back on itself. But at this point, I think I just need to chop and extend. I do have a pole split here that I could do and then put a new one on top of it. It is extremely rooted in the back of this pole, so like it's obviously growing into it. It's just not really, it's not really done anything that would indicate it's starting to fenestrate. Only on like one leaf. There's one leaf in here where it like kind of did the thing where it gives you little dots. It like was indicating that it was going to fenestrate, and then the following leaf just didn't have any of that. And so maybe it was just a fluke, but we are again back at the top of the pole now, so I may as well just give it an extension and take off the bottom again. I feel like that's just what you have to keep doing with poles. You just have to keep chopping and extending if you want them to get bigger and to size up. That's okay though. It's still doing really well. I basically also neglect this plant. It doesn't get any sort of grow light. It barely gets any attention. I showered it off this morning before this video and to moisten the pole. And so it was a little bit dusty before, but it's absolutely fine now. It's just how it is. I'm not like, that's the thing with Cebu Blues. They're so chill. I don't need to do like anything to it and it does fine. So I don't do anything to it and then it just does fine. But I feel like if I paid attention to it, it might do a little bit better. So I guess this is a wake-up call for me to pay more attention to it, actually give it a chop and extend. And I mean, do I even need to chop it to extend it? Not really. I could just extend on top of this and have a taller moss pole, because this moss pole is like quite short. Like it's not even on the ground at this point. So it's not a very big one at all. I could definitely just put an extension on top of it. It's not the end of the world. I don't know why I didn't just do that 6 months ago, but you know, I didn't, so. Back to something that I feel like I've succeeded on. Go me. I wanted to stop neglecting my ficus shiveriana, and guess what I've done? I've stopped neglecting my ficus shiveriana. Basically, I don't think I was giving it enough moisture, and so I decided to pop it into semi-hydro, into a no drainage situation. If it'll focus on that. No drainage in there, it's got some roots, and honestly, it has done so much better since I did that. It's not grown huge since because I had also just like chopped the tops off the branches. I think that was at like that point or something, but it's grown from lower down, so it's gotten itself a little bit bushier. It does look like a bit of a small tree at this point, and it's growing very regularly. It is putting out new growth pretty much constantly. I know at that time as well that I filmed the last video, it did have thrips as well, which obviously the first goal then was to get rid of the thrips, which I think I did, but I think I might have gotten them back since, because there are plants in that area that has thrips. I need to, like, I treated the variegated monstera for them, but I haven't like gone through and treated everything else. So it's something I have to do, and I will do it in order to not neglect this plant, which was the goal. Like, there was a single leaf with like 2 tiny baby thrips on it, but otherwise it seems like absolutely fine. Like, it's not as bad as it has been previously, because I feel like this one's a little bit of I mean, ficus in general tend to be a bit of a pest magnet, for me at least. So I'll just give this one another treatment, nothing too intense, and it should be absolutely fine. But honestly, since putting it into semi-hydro, I feel like it's growing so much better. And maybe it doesn't look like it is, but it feels like it is. So I will take it. Okay, for the past couple of months, this one was doing phenomenal, and it was getting so much better. It was growing better than before. But in the last 48 hours, my begonia hatacoa silver has gone really limp and weird. I think it has to do with the heat. We've had a massive heat wave here in the UK these past few days, and it's been very warm, and I've had to water things a lot. And I think I might have accidentally watered too high on this one. I didn't like fill it up to the top or anything, but I think I might have just watered a little bit too high, and so it might have gotten a bit rotty and unhappy in there. Oh, my rings just ripped this leaf, whoops. But the leaves have gone, I mean, kind of gorgeous, beautiful pinky color, but so limp and sad. I'm a little bit worried that I am basically going to entirely lose this one. And this has been in the last 48 hours, which is kind of crazy. Like, right when I'm about to film this video, it decides it wants to be really weird because it was growing so well. It was actually putting out decent sized growth again and like giving me quite good leaves, doing really well. And then suddenly it's just gone. So it's possible that in 6 months I won't have this one anymore if it doesn't recover from this bout of, I mean, it must be overwatering, or it's just like boiled itself because it's been so warm. Because like my flat, it gets so hot in my flat. It was easily like 32 degrees inside my home, which is too warm for a lot of plants, especially if they're not used to it, and the water maybe just got a bit too warm, I guess. So we'll see what happens with this one. I will keep you all updated on it. While it is doing really poorly, I do think it looks kind of gorgeous with this like weird red pinkiness. So feeling very unsuccessful in this one. I then wanted to stop my alocasia regal shield from cycling. While I haven't been able to stop it cycling per se, it is growing, I'd say, much better than it was before. It actually gave me quite a big, beautiful leaf recently. And like, whereas all of the past leaves were kind of this sort of size, like head size, if that makes sense. This past one was really lovely, and it's got another new one back here, which isn't quite as big as the previous, but it's bigger than this one, so I kind of like, I'll take it. And I think the main thing that I've changed is that I popped it into a bigger no drainage container, and you can really see the roots in there are doing very well. And so I think it really likes this situation. And I mean, I had to pull it out of the cabinet, I think, late last year, and so maybe it was taking a little bit from that, like, to kind of get used to it. So I'm hoping maybe now it will stop cycling, like it won't throw away this leaf when it puts out the next one. And if it does, that would be freaking awesome. But it's doing better than it honestly ever has. And while I don't think I've fully completed the goal of not having it cycle anymore, I am feeling much better about it. I'm feeling like it's in a better place, and it is just doing better things. It's growing bigger, more beautiful, better leaves. I still want it to keep getting bigger and better because it's like, I know a lot of my patrons have the regal shield, and whenever I do those, I think twice a year or so, I do videos where I have them send me in pictures, and so many of them have big, gorgeous, beautiful regal shields, and I am always so massively envious of their plants, and I really would love this one to get to the point where I would be envious of it, and this leaf is on its way to creating that sort of plant, but we're not quite there yet with it. So hopefully, in the not too distant future, by the end of the year, we might have more leaves and it might be bigger. I might even have to like upsize this container because I feel like I have heard as well that they need quite a big root system. So maybe I need to do that to help it get even bigger. But for now, I'm happy with the success I've had so far on this one, but we can do better. We can push further with it. And then my final goal was to size up my philodendron ernestii, and I think it's doing pretty frickin' well considering. So I had just popped it onto a small front opening moss pole at the time of the last video, and to be honest, I did just leave it to grow over the top of that and just kind of do its own thing for quite a while. But in the last, not very long, maybe in like the last month or so, I popped it onto a new, bigger front opening moss pole, which it's already at the top of, so like that's something for me to deal with. I'll need to get it an extension, but it is growing bigger. The leaves are bigger. I am getting it to size up, and it's only just going to get better once I pop an extension on this and let it keep growing and actually having the support. So all of the leaves it's grown here that are bigger than the ones down the bottom grew like this without support, and so I can only imagine how well it will do with the support. It was doing phenomenally, like growing into the pole really, really well on the last pole, and you can't really see it down the bottom because it's got covered in moss, but already you can see in there there's roots growing in, and so we know it's happy, we know it's doing well, we know it freaking loves a moss pole. And so we're actually getting somewhere with this one, and I feel like in another 6 months' time, given growing season, I feel like we're only halfway through, maybe, growing season. I can get so much more out of this in that time, especially if I give it a moss pole extension, which I will have to buy because I don't have any more like big, thick poles like this, which it does kind of need. So I will get myself some more of those, and then we can hopefully get this to grow even bigger in the next 6 months. I fully believe in it. It will do so well. So those are the 10 plants that I wanted to work on this year, or plant things, if we're including alocasia, propagation, pollination. And I don't think I've done poorly. Like, I'm not mad at myself for any of the things that I've not succeeded in, but there's definitely some things that I should work harder on, and making this video helps me do that, because otherwise I kind of forget about my goals a little bit, and so looking back on them properly to make this video will encourage me to take more steps with these ones, help them like a little bit more, and really focus on the ones that I can focus on to hopefully help them grow better. So it's important to look back at your goals. If you haven't gone back and looked at your New Year's resolutions recently, highly recommend it. But that is it for me today. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up down below and leave a comment on other houseplanty things you'd like me to talk about in the future. If I mention anything in this that you want more on, or any of these plants you want more details on, let me know and I can hopefully make that happen. Let me know as well how you're doing on your goals, because I hope you're doing well on them, and subscribe for more. I hope you're having a fantastic day, and I will see you in the next one. Don't forget to keep growing. Bye!